Muy buenos días. Estamos por iniciar. Good morning, everyone. We are
Good morning. We're
about
about to
to
get
start.
started.
Vamos a contar con traducción consecutiva de
We have live
inglés al
translation
español y
from Spanish into English and English into Spanish.
everyone who is going to listen us and you speak English, you could find a little logo of an earth in the bottom of the screen. So it's interpretation, and you could click there, and then you could listen the translation from Spanish to English if you need. Ahora vamos a pasar con la bióloga
Now we'll
Yadira
start
Gómez
with
Hernández, que nos va a
biologist
moderar esta
Yadira
sesión.
Gomez
Muchas gracias a
Hernandez, who will
todos
be
y
moderating the session.
bienvenidos.
Thank you so much, everyone, and welcome.
Muchas gracias a todos. Muy buenos días y
Thank you,
todos
everyone. Good
bienvenidos a
morning.
este espacio
Welcome
en donde de manera
to this
conjunta
space
estaremos
where
informando los
together
resultados
we'll
del
be
tercer
sharing the
censo
results
de
of
Vaquita
the observation
2023.
of
Para dar
Vaquita
inicio,
2023.
cedo la palabra al titular de la
We'll get
Comisión Nacional
started
de Áreas
with
Naturales
the
Protegidas,
Commissioner of the
Commissioner Peña
Natural
Fuentes.
Resource Areas,
Muchísimas
Commissioner
gracias.
Peña. Go started.
Buen
Good
día a todas y
morning.
a todos. Es un gusto
It's
estar
a great
en
pleasure
esta
to be
sesión de
here
presentación de resultados.
in this
Antes de iniciar, me
result presentation
gustaría
session.
comenzar con un video
Before we get
de
started, I'll
nuestra
start with
titular, la
a
ingeniera María
short
Luisa
video
Gómez
from
González. Adelante con el video.
Engineer Maria Luisa Gomez Gonzalez. Please, let's go ahead and play it.
¿Sí se escucha el video? No están compartiendo audio, si fueran tan amables.
Capitán de fragata Juan Luis Miraflores Ruiz, sección de operaciones del Estado Mayor, general de la Armada,
The operations and the
presidente y CEO de la de Sea
Navy,
Shepherd,
Pritam Singh,
María
President and
Bárbara
CEO
Taylor,
of
líder
Sea
del censo
Shepherd,
de la Vaquita
and Barbara
Survey
Taylor, who was
2023.
lead
También
scientist for the
investigadores
count.
Ernesto Vázquez, Armando
We
Jaramillo,
also
Lorenzo
celebrate
Rojas,
Ernesto Vasquez, Armando Jaramillo, Lorenzo Rojas, and
Nacional
of course,
de Áreas
the
Protegidas
National
Comunitarias,
Commissioner of
Alberto
Natural
Alberto Peña
Resources and
Fuentes,
Protected Areas,
y el
Alberto
subsecretario de
Peña
Política
Fuentes,
Ambiental
as well as
y
the
Recursos
Undersecretary
Naturales,
of
maestro
Natural
Iván Rico
Resources and
López.
Policy, Ivan
Este
Rico
lunes
Lopez.
5 de junio celebramos el
On
Día
Monday,
Internacional del
June
Medio
5th, we
Ambiente.
celebrated
El cita
the
para
World
2023 se
Environment
centró en
Day
buscar soluciones contra el
that was
genocidio de
centered
la
in
población
looking for
por
solutions
plásticos.
for
Ese mismo día
pollution by
conmemoramos el
plastics.
23
On the
aniversario
same
de la
date, we
Comisión
celebrated the
Nacional de Áreas
23rd anniversary
Protegidas,
of the National
institución que tiene bajo su tutela
Protected Areas
187
that
áreas
has
naturales protegidas que
187
suman
areas
cerca de 91
protected,
millones de
about
hectáreas.
91
Junto a
million
la Secretaría de
hectares,
Medio Ambiente y Recursos Naturales, la
along
Semarnat,
with the
trabajamos
Secretary
para
of Natural
garantizar que
Resources,
nuestro
Samarnap. They
presidente, el
work
licenciado Andrés
to
Manuel
make sure
López
that our
Obrador,
president, Luis
sea
Manuel López
el
Obrador,
segundo presidente en
is the
decretar las
second
áreas
president
naturales
to
protegidas
decree the
después
most
del
protected
general
natural
Lázaro
resource
Cárdenas.
areas after
Tenemos el
Lázaro
reto de
Cárdenas.
impulsar y ver
Our
nacer
challenge
más
is
áreas
to
naturales
protect
protegidas
these areas
para su consolidación
and
y
make sure
permanencia
that we
para
consolidate
que
them
este
and
y las
make
futuras
it permanent
generaciones
so that these areas and our
disfruten
future
de sus
generations can
ecosistemas invaluables.
enjoy those
Reconozco que el trabajo
unvaluable
conjunto, la
environments.
cooperación interinstitucional
We
y el
celebrate
apoyo de
collaboration among
organizaciones no
institutions,
gubernamentales
the
y de la
support of different
ciudadanía, el
governmental and
compromiso con la
non-governmental
conservación y el
institutions
acompañamiento de la
to
ciencia
protect
rinden frutos.
along with
El
scientists
gobierno de
and
México ha
see the
realizado
fruits and the
esfuerzos
results of their
importantes
labor.
para
We
proteger los
have done
océanos
great
y
efforts to
poblaciones.
protect oceans
Muestra de
and
ello es el trabajo
wildlife.
coordinado que se realiza desde la
And we have the coordinated work
intragubernamental
that
sobre
we've
la
done with the
sustentabilidad del Alto Golfo de
intra-government
California, mejor conocido
agencies
como
and the
GIS
Upper
por sus
Gulf of
siglas,
California,
conformados
known
por
as
la
HEAF,
CEMAR, SADER,
that is
Semarnat,
for by
Secretaría de Energía,
Semarnap,
Relaciones Exteriores,
the
Secretaría de
Secretary of
Hacienda, de
Energy,
Trabajo, de Seguridad, la Secretaría de Bienestar, la
Security,
CONAPESCA,
Well-being,
INAPESCA, la PROFEPA, la
CONAPESCA,
CONAGUA y la
INAPESCA,
PGR.
PROFEPA, CONAMP,
Desde la
and
creación del GIS en
PGR.
2020, se
Since
han
we
venido
started
desarrollando
HIF
diferentes
in
acciones
2020, we
que
have
paso a
developed
paso
different
van
actions
generando un
that step by
negativo
step had
y efecto
generated
positivo en las
a
especies
positive
endémicas
effect
del
in the endemic species of the upper Gulf of California. Today, I would like to share with you some of these efforts that we have in the area. As you know, our country committed uh, uh, about the protection of endangered species in front of CITES to avoid the illegal fishing of totuabas as well, and to protect the totuaba, the vaquita, sorry. We have been working on these actions and we have reinforced them with other areas. An example of this is the project coordinated by the Secretary of the Navy, where they placed 193 concrete blocks designed to capture the gillnets. This is part of our action plan, and the results show that this has brought great benefits for the conservation of the vaquita. Another example is what we are here for today, monitoring the species that's so important for all Mexicans when it comes to the step 5 of the action plan dedicated to these efforts. Like we announced from May 18 to 26, they have this observation trip in 2023 where we had about 77 individuals composed of scientists, crew, and logistics, both out at sea and by land. We had an acoustic and a visual component. We had favorable conditions for this trip, which allowed for the trips that lets us estimate where the vaquitas were located in the CTA. We have great news to share today, and we're really hopeful with this news. With the visual component, 8 people in San Felipe, Baja California, were trained to look for vaquitas. When it comes to the acoustic component, we have 10 people that had experience installing this type of detectors that were part of the equipment that will be working on this throughout the year. In a few weeks, we'll get more detectors that we acquired to keep them monitoring, to have continuous resources for this scientific investigations. I highlight the commitment with the protection of Vaquita, and we want to keep working with these actions. I invite you to keep the work up to support the Vaquita, of course, in favor of the inhabitants of the upper Gulf of California, because preserving natural resources is a task that we should all work on as Mexicans. We should take care of life to be able to leave it for future generations. Thank you so much, and congratulations to present such great and hopeful news. And it's with great pleasure from our secretary. We are so very happy and very enthusiastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate the video from our secretary, and we get started. And now we will allow Ivan Rico Lopez, Undersecretary of Natural Resources. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Commissioner Adam Peña Fuentes, all of you who are joining us, the captains from the Navy that have been working in this issue. I want to thank Pritam Singh from Sea Shepherd, Dr. Taylor, Mr. Jaramillo, Lorenzo Rojas, and every single one of you who worked, like the secretary mentioned, and this important undertaking. It might not be the main, but it's one of the main markers that allow us to see how much progress we're making in the upper Gulf of California. I would like to highlight, as the secretary mentioned, the good news that are bringing hope, but they're also historic, because when we have so many elements with such a complex issue that go against the solution of this problem, the small steps or huge steps that we take should be highly valued and highlighted. First of all, I would like to mention the work when it comes to sustainability in the Upper Gulf of California. In September of 2020, we had two main elements. The first one was an agreement that had never been published to regulate when it comes to the issue, and there is the refugee area, a CTA that was not there before. They were identified but not fully and legally established. And of course, it comes to the shaping of heat that helps with coordination of different institutions. We have 18 government agencies that work hand in hand with the Baja California and Sonora governments, as well with the non-government agencies that protect the vaquita, and of course with the different agencies and the fishing agencies in the Upper Gulf of California, which has allowed us to work in collaboration, which has not happened before. And I think that the results that we are sharing today is due to that collaborative action of the Mexican government. We've had the coordination that we didn't have before, and we have also seen really important initiatives like the one the secretary has described, and many of them have come from listening to those who are asking for help in the area. And I will also like to mention that it's important to give attention to heat. We already spoke about the 18 agencies that are working not only when it comes to environment, security, but the whole spectrum. Something that our president has asked us as well with the Secretary Luis Albores is to see not only the effects, but also the causes behind all of our environmental issues. And we need to pay attention to the social area of this. We see the communities in the Upper Gulf of California that, in a way, increase the problematic against the vaquita as well as another species, which is totuaba. The future is of both of them is linked, and I will conclude by saying that all the efforts, as the secretary mentioned, that Mexicans do, not only the government but all social actors, have to create an echo in these forums, both national and international. It's not just for us Mexicans, it's for the whole world. And that's why all the countries should participate actively to solve this problematic. We reiterate our commitment to keep working with HIFs to solve those issues. And we also are very thankful for all of you that participated in this exercise that is necessary to see the progress in this issue. Thank you so much. Thank you, Undersecretary. Now we will allow Captain Juan Luis Miraflores from the Mexican Army. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with the National Commissioner and their Secretary, and of course, with the whole technical team that made this observation trip for Vaquita 2023 possible. Today, I would like to share that from the Navy. We've been talking a little bit about what the concrete blocks project had been. Can we please go to the next slide? This project was born precisely with the spirit of creating different action to what we had seen before. And remember that at the beginning of 2022 is when we came up with this idea of placing concrete blocks in this CTA. I have to mention that this was due to some strategies that organizations such as Sea Shepherd, Greenpeace, and the United Kingdom had used before to stop fishing, illegal fishing. When it comes to the Vaquita refugee, we know that this type of fishing is done with gillnet, and that's why we started brainstorming to see in which way we could implement this type of exercise that other organizations had done elsewhere. That's when we came up with the idea to have hooks on the same concrete blocks that we were going to place. There was a total of 193 blocks that were placed at a mile distance from each other. This
Precisamente el 7 de octubre del
on October 7th, 2023, we can see some of the stats of the effort that took place through the authorities that helped with this. And these blocks were built in Guaymas, and then they were moved to San Felipe. In total, we did 20 trips to be able to transport this 193 blocks. When it comes to the distance and the total miles that were covered to the two boats. Next slide, please. What have been the results that we have collaborated? Honestly, even though the main goal was to dissuade vessels that we are still fishing in the area, we saw that the impact was humongous when it came to the stats that we have received since we played the last blog, and up to this date, we see that the illegal fishing has decreased by 79%, and in some cases up to 90%. And the images that you can see on your screen on the left, you see the video that was recorded of a few fishermen that were trying on December 20, 2022. They were able to throw their nets, but this one got stuck on the hooks. And then, of course, the protocol took place where the Marine Pesca and Professor came to get the net, and it got destroyed. On your right-hand side, we have an image from a video of April of this year, where in the same way a Lessa tries to place their gill nets in the area, and thankfully they don't have enough time to do their activities. We activate the protocol that we mentioned before, and the net was removed and destroyed. The lessons that we have learned when it comes to this project have been rewarding. It definitely has been a mechanism that has allowed for us to put a stop to illegal fishing in the CCA, and our perspective is to analyze with the commissioner and evaluate with his technical team the possibility of increasing this area and increase the area where we place the block. To conclude with my participation, I just want to thank you and share with our guests that when we want to do things and when we do things in a certain way and with the participation of such a healthy group, we get different results. Thank you so much. Thank you, Captain. We appreciate your presentation. Now we will allow Pritam Singh, President and CEO of Sea Shepherd, to do his.
Thank you very much for inviting me today. My name is Pritam Singh. I'm the chairman of the board of CEO of Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. Thanks everyone for joining this important announcement. I want to thank Secretary of Seminat Albores and Commissioner Peña of CONAP and for being part of this important announcement today. And of course, thanks and appreciation to Captain Mila Flores and the great men and women of the Mexican Navy who are our partners at sea every day. I would also like to have a heartfelt thank to Ambassador Moctezuma, who's helped us so much on this project. Special thanks to Dr. Barbara Taylor for leading the survey and bringing her dedication and deep understanding of the Vaquita to this scientific exercise. Everyone who cares about marine wildlife is in her debt, and we remain fortunate to have her expertise. I also want to thank Andrea Bonilla, who is the chief scientist of Sea Shepherd, and many, many thanks to all of the many scientists who participated in the survey. The mission we share with...
Pritam, may I please interpret for the group? Muy buenos días, mi nombre es Pritam Singh, soy el director de la mesa directiva y CEO de Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. Gracias a todos ustedes por su presencia el día de hoy para este anuncio tan importante. Quiero agradecer al comisionado Peña de CONAP y al subsecretario Rico de Semarnat por ser parte de este importante anuncio el día de hoy. Y sobre todo, agradezco y aprecio al capitán Miraflores y los hombres y mujeres de la Armada Mexicana y la Marina Mexicana que estuvieron en este gran trabajo que hemos hecho juntos día a día en el refugio de la Vaquita. Quiero darle también un agradecimiento especial a la doctora Barbara Taylor por ser la científica encargada de este crucero de observación y traer no solo su dedicación, sino su entendimiento y conocimiento profundo de la Vaquita en este ejercicio científico. Todos aquellos a quienes les interesa la vida marina, estamos endeudados con ella y su conocimiento y somos muy afortunados de tenerla en este proyecto. Quiero agradecerle también al embajador de México en Estados Unidos, el señor Cuauhtémoc, y quiero agradecer a Andrea Bonilla, que ha sido la científica que ha dirigido en Sea Shepherd, y a todos los científicos que han participado en este crucero de investigación. Compartimos esta misión con CONAP, Semarnat y la doctora Taylor, y es una parte importante de por qué estamos trabajando para rescatar a la Vaquita. Go ahead, sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's okay. Our commitment to the goal of saving the Vaquita is total. For us at Sea Shepherd, the survey results we are announcing today will do exactly one thing: increase our determination to save the Vaquita. Sea Shepherd's role in the larger effort to save the Vaquita comes in the form of Operation Milagro, which is our collaboration with multiple agencies of the Mexican government to keep the zero tolerance area free of illegal fishing gear that has brought the Vaquita to the brink of extinction.
Nuestro compromiso con esta meta está completo. Para nosotros aquí en Sea Shepherd, este crucero de observación y sus resultados que estamos anunciando el día de hoy hacen exactamente una cosa: aumentar nuestra determinación para rescatar a la Vaquita. El rol de Sea Shepherd en los esfuerzos concretos para rescatar a la Vaquita vienen en forma de la Operación Milagro, que es nuestra colaboración con múltiples agencias del gobierno mexicano para mantener la zona de cero tolerancia, libre de implementos de pesca ilegales, que ha sido lo que ha permitido darle vida a la Vaquita que estaba al punto de la extinción.
Sea Shepherd has been in this fight for 9 years, and we will continue for years and years to come. Each Operation Milagro has evolved and adapted. As we move forward, we will continue to diligently patrol and help keep the ZTA clear of gill nets every day. We came into this campaign knowing this would be a long road and the work would be difficult. That was true then, and it is true today.
Sea Shepherd ha estado en esta batalla durante 9 años y continuaremos por muchos años más. Cada operación Milagro se ha evolucionado y adaptado según ha sido necesario. Conforme avanzamos, continuaremos patrullando de manera diligente y ayudando a mantener la zona de cero tolerancia libre de redes de pesca día a día. Empezamos esta campaña sabiendo que sería un camino largo y el trabajo que esto nos tomaría sería difícil. Esto era verdad en aquel entonces y sigue siendo verdad hasta el día de hoy.
But this mission is important. Saving the vaquita is important. Our partnership with the Mexican government is an honor and is important. And on behalf of Sea Shepherd, I pledge today that we are resolute, we are committed, and we will work with the Mexican government every day to achieve these goals on behalf of the environment and the future we hand to our children and grandchildren. I thank Semarnat, CONAP, CIMAR, and everyone who is involved in protecting the vaquita for having us participate today in this announcement.
Esta misión es de gran importancia. Rescatar a la vaquita es de gran importancia. Nuestra colaboración es de gran importancia. Y a nombre de Sea Shepherd me comprometo en nuestra resolución. Estamos comprometidos y seguiremos trabajando con el gobierno mexicano día a día para lograr cumplir estas metas a favor del medio ambiente y el futuro que le entregamos no solo a nuestros hijos, sino también a nuestros nietos. Agradezco infinitamente a Semarnat, CEMAR y CONAP y a todos los que están involucrados en proteger la vaquita por permitirme participar en este anuncio. Gracias.
Thank you and God bless everyone.
Gracias y que Dios los bendiga.
Gracias, agradecemos mucho las palabras de Pritam y por supuesto que seguimos comprometidos en esta labor. Ahora damos paso a las palabras de Bárbara Taylor, líder del Censo de Vaquita Marina 2023. Adelante.
Hello, my name is Barbara Taylor. I'm an independent researcher after retiring from over 30 years with the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration Southwest Fisheries Science Center. I've been studying vaquitas since 1991, and I am so pleased to present positive news for vaquitas and potentially game-changing conservation actions that could be a turning point for Mexico's largest endemic mammal. To give you a sense of what today's results mean, I first need to set some context.
Hola, mi nombre es doctora Bárbara Taylor. Soy una científica independiente. Me he retirado recientemente después de 30 años con el Centro Científico de Oceanografía y Administración Atmosférica de Estados Unidos. He trabajado con las vaquitas desde 1991. Me da muchísimo gusto poder presentar información positiva para las vaquitas y que potencialmente podrían cambiar la manera en la que trabajamos con la conservación. Este podría ser un punto importante para el mamífero endémico más importante en México. Y para darle sentido o una idea de lo que los resultados del día de hoy significan, necesito plantear bien nuestro contexto.
This is the sad recent history of vaquita's path towards extinction. Between 1997 and 2008, vaquitas went from around 600 to around 200 individuals. Vaquitas are killed in all types of gill nets. That loss of 400 vaquitas resulted primarily from gill nets for shrimp, chano, sierra, and sharks and rays. The market for shrimp was in the US. Between 2008 and 2015, the illegal fishery for totuaba resumed, and the rate of decline increased from about 8% per year to around 45% per year. Throughout this entire period, it has always been clear that the survival of vaquitas depends on ridding their tiny distribution of gill nets.
Esta es la triste historia reciente del camino de la vaquita hacia la extinción. Entre 1997 y el 2008, las vaquitas pasaron de 600 a aproximadamente 200. Las vaquitas son llevadas a su muerte debido a las redes de pesca. La pérdida de esas 400 vaquitas resultó principalmente en la pesca de camarón, chano, sierra y tiburones y mantarrayas. El mercado era precisamente en Estados Unidos. Entre el 2008 y el 2015 se reinició la pesca ilegal de la totuaba y eso hizo que la tasa de declive de la especie fuera de aproximadamente 8% al año a 45% al año.
A lo largo de todo este periodo, siempre era claro que la supervivencia de la vaquita dependía directamente de acabar con la distribución de las redes de pesca.
As vaquitas declined, their distribution also declined. The zero tolerance area, the ZTA, was formed within the much larger vaquita refuge in the hopes that enforcement could guard the last stronghold of the species.
Conforme la población de vaquita disminuyó, su distribución también se vio disminuida. La zona de cero tolerancia se formó con un refugio más grande, con la esperanza de que pudiéramos protegerlo y tener a cargo la protección de este último bastión de la especie.
Our past visual research efforts took place in autumn, which previously had low wind conditions needed to see vaquitas, but was also the peak of shrimp gill netting season. Gill nets were so thick in ZTA waters in 2018, 2019, and 2021 that our efforts to find and track vaquitas was hindered. Despite all that gill netting, vaquitas were holding on. If vaquitas had continued to decline at 45% per year, they should be extinct by now. Instead, we were seeing robust animals with calves. These are real survivors.
Nuestros últimos esfuerzos visuales normalmente se llevaban a cabo en el otoño, que normalmente tenía la situación climática necesaria, las condiciones climáticas necesarias para poder observar a las vaquitas. Sin embargo, era también el punto más alto de la temporada de pesca con red del camarón. Las redes estaban tan densas en la zona de cero tolerancia en el agua en el 2018, 2019 y 2021, que nuestros esfuerzos para encontrar y darle seguimiento a las vaquitas se vieron altamente afectados. Aún con todas estas redes, las vaquitas estaban sobreviviendo. Si la vaquita hubiera seguido disminuyendo su población a la tasa de 45% al año, ya estarían extintas en este momento. Sin embargo, cuando lográbamos observarlos, veíamos animales robustos con crías. Estos son en realidad los sobrevivientes.
Now let me get to this year's research. For the first time, we surveyed in May to get better weather conditions. We used two ships, the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society Seahorse and the Sirena de la Noche. The strategy was primarily to rely on the Seahorse to find vaquitas and the Sirena to photograph vaquitas.
Permítanme ahora acercarlos a la investigación de este año. Por primera vez, hicimos nuestra observación en mayo para obtener mejores condiciones climáticas. Nos apoyamos en dos embarcaciones, el Seahorse y Sirena de la Noche de Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. La estrategia era principalmente depender de Seahorse para encontrar a las vaquitas y de la Sirena para fotografiar a dichas vaquitas.
For the past 20 years, Mexico has had one of the world's best acoustic research teams, led by Armando Jaramillo Legarreta. The acoustic team used passive acoustic detectors to tell us where to search. Here is a summary of what that acoustic team found, and you can see that the detections were concentrated on the ZTA border.
Durante los últimos 20 años, México ha tenido uno de los mejores equipos de investigación acústica a nivel mundial, dirigido por Armando Jaramillo Legorreta. El equipo acústico utilizó detectores acústicos pasivos para decirnos dónde teníamos que enfocarnos. Aquí encontramos un resumen de lo que encontró el equipo acústico y pueden ver que todas las detecciones se encontraban concentradas en las fronteras de la zona de cero tolerancia.
We had 16 sightings, seen here by the dots. Each dot represents a vaquita location, but many locations are of the same animals. The seahorse search tracks are in blue, the Sirenas in red. The first week, we didn't see any calves and were worried that the mothers with 2-month-old calves might be taking them into shallow protected waters. Because May is a low fishing month, we were able to survey outside the ZTA. On May 20th, we saw our first mother and calf. The green dots are confirmed calf locations, and you can see that they are using the unprotected areas outside the ZTA.
Tuvimos 16 avistamientos que están demarcados aquí con los puntos. Cada uno de los puntos representa una ubicación de la vaquita, pero muchas de las ubicaciones son del mismo animal. La guía en azul es la que tenemos de Seahorse y la que está en rojo es de la embarcación Sirena. Durante la primera semana no vimos ninguna cría y nuestra preocupación era que las madres llevaran a sus crías de 2 meses a las áreas de menos profundidad que aún estaban protegidas. Ya que mayo es un mes de baja pesca, pudimos expandir nuestro crucero fuera de la zona de cero tolerancia. El día 20 de mayo vimos a nuestra primer madre y su cría. Los puntos verdes son ubicaciones confirmadas de crías y pueden ver que están utilizando la zona no protegida fuera de la zona de cero tolerancia.
How do we estimate how many we saw over several weeks when we cover the same area repeatedly? And of course, the vaquitas themselves are swimming all about. The method we use is called expert elicitation. Scientists' observations are compiled into an evidence dossier, which adds information like maps, swim speeds, and photographs of the animals. For each sighting, the scientific team reads the evidence and assigns probabilities to the number of vaquitas that could have been seen in that sighting. At the end of the survey, we were led by experts in Scotland through an expert elicitation to answer 2 questions. 1, how many unique calves were seen? And 2, how many unique vaquitas were seen, including calves?
¿Cómo llegamos al estimado de cuántas vaquitas vimos a lo largo de diferentes semanas cuando estamos cubriendo la misma área de manera repetitiva y además las vaquitas están nadando por todos lados? El método utilizado es llamado elicitación de expertos. Las observaciones de los científicos están todas en un dossier de evidencia en el cual se toma información como los mapas, la velocidad en la que nadan y fotografías de cada uno de los animales. Para cada uno de estos avistamientos, el equipo científico lee la evidencia y asigna probabilidades al número de vaquitas que pueden haber estado en cada uno de los avistamientos. Al final del crucero, fuimos dirigidos por expertos en Escocia por medio de esta licitación experto y teníamos 2 preguntas a contestar. La primera de ellas era cuántas crías únicas fueron avistadas y cuántas vaquitas únicas fueron vistas, incluyendo a las crías.
Here are the results. We estimated that within the areas surveyed, we saw 1 to 2 calves with a 10% chance of there being 3 to 5 calves. We also estimated that within the area surveyed, the mean estimate for the number of vaquitas seen in all 16 sightings was 10.6, with a 76% chance that there were between 8 and 13 seen, and 65% expert confidence that there were at least 10. These results are very similar to what we saw in 2019 and 2021.
Vemos aquí los resultados. Estimamos que dentro del área observada vimos de 1 a 2 crías con un 10% de posibilidades de que existan 3. Estimamos que dentro del área observada el promedio medio de la cantidad de vaquitas vistas en total fue 16 avistamientos, que fue un 10.6 con una posibilidad de 76% de que existan entre 8 y 13. Y el 65% de la confianza del experto de que eran por lo menos 10. Estos resultados son muy similares a lo que observamos en el 2019 y el 2021.
As if that weren't encouraging enough, what really filled all of us with optimism was that not a single gillnet was seen inside the ZTA during our survey. Compare this to our last day in 2021, when there were 117 pangas inside the ZTA with enough gillnet set to run the length of the ZTA 5 times over. The SSCS crew has recorded an over 90% reduction in gillnetting within the ZTA. How did this happen?
Como si esto no fuera lo suficientemente alentador, lo que realmente nos ha llenado de optimismo fue que no encontramos una sola red de pesca dentro de la zona de cero tolerancia durante nuestro crucero de observación. Si comparamos esto con nuestro último día en el 2022, cuando había 117 pangas dentro de la zona de cero tolerancia, con suficiente red para recorrer la zona de cero tolerancia 5 veces. La tripulación de Sea Shepherd ha llevado un registro de una reducción de más del 90% de las redes dentro de la zona de cero tolerancia. Pero, ¿cómo sucedió esto?
Almost certainly, the reduction is a result of the concrete blocks with hooks that the Navy deployed last August, in combination with a collaborative effort to monitor the ZTA between SSCS and the Navy. This is what the blocks look like. 193 were deployed throughout the ZTA. Many people, including myself, were concerned that these hooks would entangle nets that could then entangle vaquitas.
Con seguridad, la reducción es resultado de los bloques de concreto con ganchos que la Marina aplicó el agosto pasado, en combinación con los esfuerzos colaborativos para monitorear la zona de cero tolerancia entre Sea Shepherd y la Marina. Este es cómo se ven los bloques. Fueron instalados 193 bloques dentro de la zona de cero tolerancia. Muchas personas, incluyéndome a mí misma, estábamos preocupados con la posibilidad de que estos ganchos enredaran las redes, causando que se quedaran enredadas las vaquitas.
The Seahorse is equipped with a state-of-the-art side scan sonar that has been used since January to search for ghost nets. The sonar settings are such that the sound attenuates at distances shorter than Vaquitas will avoid the ship due to its regular engine noise. Here you see that the ZTA has been thoroughly covered. Only a single net has been found.
La embarcación Seahorse está equipado con un sonar de última tecnología que puede escanear y hemos estado utilizando desde enero para buscar redes fantasma. Las instrucciones del sonar son tales que el sonido atenúa a distancias más cortas que las vaquitas y estas van a evitar la embarcación debido al sonido del motor. Aquí ven la zona de cero tolerancia que hemos cubierto ampliamente y solo hemos logrado encontrar una sola red de pesca.
This is a huge success. The Navy should be proud of implementing the first action that truly provides a sanctuary for vaquitas. For a species that has been on the absolute brink of extinction since 2018, hovering around a minimum of 10 individuals, there is finally an asylum. This is a time to rejoice, but not to rest. The vaquitas in the emergency room have been given a chance. We've stopped the bleeding, but to recover, vaquitas need more. The first thing they need is more concrete blocks to cover the prime habitat that we know contains precious calves.
Esto es obviamente un gran suceso, un gran éxito. La Marina debería encontrarse y sentirse muy orgullosa de implementar la primera acción que verdaderamente ha creado un santuario para la vaquita. Para una especie que ha estado justo al límite de la extinción desde el 2018, con un mínimo de 10 individuos, contamos finalmente con un verdadero asilo. Pero no tenemos tiempo de estar disfrutando nuestro éxito. Las vaquitas están en la sala de emergencias. Hemos logrado darles una oportunidad. Hemos detenido la hemorragia, pero para recuperarse hay que trabajar aún más. Lo primero que tenemos que hacer es aplicar más bloques de concreto para cubrir el hábitat principal que sabemos, gracias a nuestra investigación, que incluye crías preciadas.
But for Vaquita to recover, a cure must be found. We know the cure is no more gill nets. Sadly, we still saw lots of gill nets in San Felipe and lots of fishermen needing to make a living. The recovery team for vaquitas has argued since 1997 that vaquitas will only survive if fishermen can make a good living without using gill nets. That is still true. The concrete blocks and collaboration between SSCS and the Navy could be a turning point if there is political will and economic support to help fishers convert from fishing gear that kills vaquitas to alternative gear that contributes to sustainable fishing practices.
Para que la vaquita se recupere, debemos encontrar una cura. Sabemos que la cura es que no haya más redes de pesca. Sin embargo, aún hay muchísimas redes de pesca en San Felipe y muchos pescadores que tienen que encontrar una manera de sobrevivir. El equipo de recuperación de la vaquita ha discutido desde 1997 que las vaquitas solo sobrevivirán si los pescadores pueden tener una buena vida sin el uso de las redes. Y esto sigue siendo verdad. Los bloques de concreto y la colaboración entre Sea Shepherd y la Marina podrían ser un punto de cambio para la vaquita si existe una manera política y económica de apoyar a los pescadores para que pasen de equipo de pesca que mata a las vaquitas a equipo alternativo que contribuye a prácticas de pesca sustentables.
I'd like to leave you with the hope that I felt watching this mother and calf. Vaquitas are absolutely miraculous in persisting against all odds. The protected ZTA is giving them and us the time needed to make this day one we will look back on as the point when Mexico saved their beautiful porpoise. Thank you very much.
Me gustaría dejarlos con la esperanza que yo sentí viendo a esta madre y su cría. Las vaquitas son una especie completamente milagrosa ya que han persistido en contra de todos los obstáculos. La zona de cero tolerancia protegida está dándoles a ellos y a nosotros el tiempo necesario para que este sea el día en el que podamos regresar y ver cuándo México logró salvar a su hermosa vaquita porpoise. Gracias.
Agradecemos mucho a Bárbara las palabras que nos ha brindado y estos videos esperanzadores. Ahora continuamos con Ernesto Vázquez, observador profesional.
Much, Barbara, for your words and the hope that you have brought from us. We're moving on with our next presenter.
Ciudad de México perdimos el audio. No sé si creo que tiene el micrófono cerrado.
Perdón, es mi culpa. Buenas tardes, buenos días. Una disculpa.
Good morning. I apologize for the technical difficulties. My name is Ernesto Vázquez Morquecho. I am a biologist, graduated from Baja California Sur. It's been a great honor and privilege to participate in the Vaquita Survey since the end of 1990. And thankfully, also this year, I was invited to participate as one of the specialists in the search of vaquitas in the upper Gulf of California. Along with other 12 vessels that Dr. Taylor had mentioned, we were working with Seahorse and La Noche. The methodology that we use is very similar to what has happened for the past 30 years. I'm having a hard time with my presentation.
Estos binoculares
Give me
de
a second.
25 aumentos que
The
estaban
binoculars
conectados en
are
el
25
transbordador 3 de
times, and they were
cada
automatic
embarcación tenía una
course.
estación
Each vessel had
para registrar los avistamientos y también se registraba al mismo tiempo las rutas que seguían las embarcaciones.
a record of all sightings
La
and
embarcación
the
Sirena
routes
de
that we
la
were
noche,
following. On
no fue
this
posible
Sirena de la
instalar
Noche
estos
sea
binoculares
vessel,
bajo
we were
asistencia.
unable to
Sin embargo,
install
usamos
these
otros binoculares
binoculars
también
that we used a
de
different
calidad.
type that were also the highest quality.
Buscamos desde el amanecer hasta el atardecer
We
en la zona
were
cerca de la
working
travesía. Nada
from
más para mencionar
to
de los
dusk,
observadores que
and there was 13
realizando
of
este
us
monitoreo durante el 2023,
during the
acumulamos un total de cerca
2023.
de
We
400 años de
reached
experiencia
about 400 years of
en la
experience
búsqueda de mamíferos marinos y
when it comes
particularmente de
to the
martón
search of
y entre ellos
sea mammal,
yo
including
pues casi esos 30 años han sido de
me.
búsqueda de vaquitas.
I have been working for the past 30 years looking for
Entonces,
Vaquita.
realizamos
So
navegaciones
we
en el
did
área
a
de
few
cero tolerancia,
trips
como lo
within the
mencionaba el doctor
CTA,
Taylor.
like Dr. Taylor already mentioned.
Seguimos un poco las
We
pistas que nos
follow the
el equipo
tracks
acústico liderado
that
por
our
el
acoustic
doctor
team
Jaramillo
had shared with us,
y
led by
enfocamos
Dr.
nuestros
Jaramillo.
esfuerzos hacia la
And we
búsqueda
were
de las
focusing our
embarcaciones donde habían
efforts
sido
in the
detectadas
areas where they
en
had
días
been
previos.
detected in
En
previous days.
total, durante todo el periodo
During
de monitoreo de este
the
año se
whole monitoring
recorrieron
period of the year,
juntos los dos barcos un total de 1,386
we
kilómetros. Esto tal vez
did
pudo ser
a
más,
total of
muchos ha sido los días de mal
1,386
tiempo que nos
uh,
impidieron
nautic
seguir
kilometers.
buscando
There were a
vaquitas.
few days that
No
had
quiero dejar de mencionar que buscar vaquitas
climatic
es una tarea muy
challenges.
complicada, es un reto
It's a very
hacer buscar
difficult
otras
task
especies de mamíferos marinos
when it
como
comes to
las
seeking
ballenas,
different mammals
los
such as
delfines, las vaquitas.
whales or
Necesitamos
dolphins.
hace unos
Vaquitas
vaquitas
are
que particularmente
a
son
sea species that are
tímidas,
particularly
se alejan de las
shy.
embarcaciones
They
y
tend to
permanecen
run
en la
away
superficie
from vessels,
un tiempo muy
and
breve.
they're
Cuando digo un
very
tiempo,
briefly on the surface,
prácticamente unos segundos.
maybe a few
Entonces
seconds.
es lo único que nos
So
permiten
that's
para
what
nosotros poderlas identificar,
how
encontrarlas
long we have
y
to identify
en su caso poder
and
seguirlas
be able to
realizar
track
más
them
observaciones
to
o
do
como
further observations,
la toma de
or like we
fotografías.
did this year,
Como
being able to
mencionaba,
photograph them.
este
Like
año
Dr. Taylor
tuvimos la
already
oportunidad
mentioned, this year we were given the
buscar
opportunity
zonas
to
que no
seek
habíamos buscado en
in
años
areas
anteriores,
where we had
cerca
not
de la
explored
área de
before,
costa, cerca de aquí de
near
los
the
estuarios, con
coasts,
la intención
near the estuaries,
encontrarnos a madres
with
con
hopes of
crías
maybe finding
que no
mothers
estuvieran
and their calves
cerca de la zona de
were
cero
probably
tolerancia.
outside the CTA.
Las únicas que encontramos fuera de la zona de cero
We
tolerancia pues
only
estaban
found
aquí donde
them
indicó
right
la
here,
doctora Taylor.
where Dr. Taylor already
Listo, pasamos a esta traducción
specified.
simultánea. Adelante, por favor.
Perdón.
Traducción.
En realidad la traducción está habilitada para los que escuchan en inglés, ya está habilitada. Sí.
Muy bien, gracias.
Sí, no se preocupe.
Gracias.
Entonces, como les mencionaba,
As I was
Dr.
saying,
Taylor,
Dr.
este
Taylor,
año tuvimos unas condiciones particularmente buenas.
we
Yo
had great
seleccioné ese año
conditions.
por la temporada que se seleccionó para realizar este monitoreo este año. En mayo,
We were
casi
able to
todos
do
los
this
años
survey
previos lo
in
habíamos
May,
hecho
and all
en
previous
otoño.
years we had come
Entonces
during
tuvimos condiciones
autumn,
propicias para
and
buscar
we had
vaquitas.
great weather conditions to be looking for
Cuando las
vaquitas.
olas son muy grandes, el viento está
When the
soplando
waves are too high, or the wind
la
is too
combinación de
strong,
climas no
or the
permite
combination of both,
encontrarlas, es difícil.
finding vaquitas is a lot more difficult.
Recordemos que la
They
vaquita
are
mide
a small species.
1,50 m,
They're about 1 meter and 50 centimeters long, maybe 1,80 m,
sale de la superficie del agua 20-25 centímetros. Entonces,
and we can only see about 20-25 centimeters on the surface.
empiezan a ponerse un poco más
That's why
perdidas en el
our
agua.
survey conditions
Casi
need
todos los días
great weather.
buenas condiciones en la mañana, los días
Most of the days we had amazing conditions in the morning.
y afortunadamente pues tuvimos
And thankfully,
quiero decir muchos avistamientos, pero fueron
I
muy
don't want to
pocos
say that we had a lot of
que
sightings,
ilustran
but we had a total of 16 during our survey period. On other years, it's been very frustrating to be there every single day and not have the ideal conditions to be able to see them.
Entonces tuvimos
This
16
year we
avistamientos, como
saw
mencionaba la doctora Taylor,
10.
tres madres con cría
We had
confirmadas.
3 moms
Y
with
algo que a mí se me
calves
hace
that we
muy
confirmed. And
esperanzador,
something that for me is very
especial, en la mayoría de los avistamientos
hope
pudimos
bringing is that we were able to take
esto,
pictures
además
with every
podernos
sighting.
certificar que
Additionally, we could verify that the mammal that we were observing was the vaquita, and we can also enter them into the individual catalog that is now growing, which will allow us in the future
pues tener otro tipo de estudios para
to
determinar
have different studies to
Sin embargo, pues sigue
check
siendo
on their
difícil.
population size.
Afortunadamente en la embarcación de Sea
Fortunately,
Shepherd
the Sea Shepherd
se encontraba un
vessel
piloto bastante
had
experimentado para
a
volar
pilot that
y se
was
aplicó
very
básicamente esta
well
técnica
trained on how to
en
fly
condiciones
drones. We had
espectaculares,
amazing condition,
fotografías y
and
tomas
we were able to get
y
really good
también tal vez
photographic and
la conducta de las
drone
vaquitas
takes
desde mi
of the
punto de vista
vaquitas. From my point of view, this
muy
was
diferente comparado con otros
different
años.
compared
Las vaquitas
to
mostraban
different years. Vaquitas
algunas
were
veces
a little bit more
pudimos
calm.
estar siguiéndolas
Sometimes we were able
los
to
radares y las embarcaciones
follow them with our
aproximadamente
binoculars and our
10, 20
vessels for over
minutos hasta
10,
cerca de una
20,
hora.
sometimes up to an
Creo
hour. So
que en el 2023 en
I
mayo
think that
pudimos
2023
conseguir
in May, we had the
vaquitas para
perfect
realizar
combination of conditions
como
to
digo, pudimos conseguir
undertake this survey, and we were able
muestras
to
de los
get
avistamientos, ¿no? Esto se
the
está checando aquí en la
photographic and video evidence of
Este es
some
un
of
ejemplo
the
de
individuals that
más o
are
menos cómo
part
se
of the
comporta
population. This
en
is
el mar.
what
Esta es la
a
embarcación
vaquita looks
Sirena
out
Noa.
at sea.
Este punto
This
que
is
está
Sirena de la Noche. This black spot is actual
está
the
cerca de la embarcación un poco.
vaquita near the
Las
vessel.
vemos todavía más lejos
Sometimes we
y
see
eso
them
nos
a
da
little bit
mayor potencia
further
con
away,
Seahorse
and that's why it was so important to have the binoculars that were at the
la
seahorse.
NOAA que pues tuvo a bien prestar los equipos para
We
poder
thank Noah that was able
ya
to
en la
lend
parte
us this
frontal
binoculars.
ve un poquito mejor la
And
vaquita
if we do a
un
close up with the photography,
de esa fotografía aún con los lentes
we can
más
see,
potentes que llevábamos
even
para
with the
poder
most
verla, seguimos
potent
viendo un punto negro a la distancia que
swimming laws that we had, it's
es
just a
difícil
black
verla,
spot.
pero pues la calidad sigue siendo buena.
The quality is
Esperamos
still
que
amazing.
en el futuro podamos
We
contar
hope
con
in the
otros
future
equipos
to have
más avanzados para la toma de fotografías, tal
better
vez
equipment for
ubicarlos en bases especiales
photographic evidence or have
acrecentar el número
special
de vaquitas, también confiar en que las
supports to expand our catalog and be trustworthy that
como mencionaba la
our
doctora Taylor,
sightings
sería
are
genial que en el futuro
actually
pudiéramos
vaquitas.
realizar
It will be great in the
otro
future
tipo de
to
investigación como la
have
que se hicieron
more
anteriormente,
survey trips like the ones
expandiendo el área
we've
de
done,
búsqueda a
expanding the area where we
toda la zona de
search
la vaquita
outside the
para
CTA
investigar
to
si no hay vaquitas en otros lugares que no pudimos haber visto o que no
find
están
if there's vaquitas in areas that are
en la
not
zona de
inside the
selección.
CTA.
Entonces, pues
So
agradezco también
I want to
al
thank
CEO de Sea Shepherd por la voluntad
Sea Shepherd's CEO for
pues en este
his
esfuerzo
commitment to
expandir la búsqueda de vaquitas
support and expand the search
ayudarle
for
a
Vaquita
México
and
y finalmente a
giving
todo el mundo
Mexico and
la
lastly the
tranquilidad de
whole
que esta
world
especie puede lograr su
the peace of
recuperación
mind
en
that
el
this
futuro.
species could
Nuevamente
recover in the future.
agradecer pues a
I
las
just want to thank
autoridades que están aquí
all
presentes,
the authorities here
a nuestros
present,
compañeros observadores
all of our
y
colleagues,
marineros
scientists,
tripulación
members
de
of
otras
the
embarcaciones
Navy and the
que se han
crew of the
sumado
vessels, because without you, we
nos han
couldn't
dado
have
este logro que
done what we did and
muchas gracias.
achieve such great results. Thank you so much.
Gracias, Ernesto. Agradecemos
Thank
tu
you, Ernesto.
participación
We
en
thank you for
este
your
evento.
participation in our
Ahora
event today.
daríamos paso a
Now
doctor
we
Armando
will
Jaramillo
allow
Legorreta,
Dr. Armando Jaramillo Legorreta,
de áreas naturales.
scientist from the Protected Natural Areas. Thank you. Hope you can see my screen.
Sí.
Yes. Well, I am Dr. Armando Jaramillo Legarreta. I am part of the research team for the conservation of mammals through the CONAMP, and the results of this acoustic component that I will share with you today a little bit more of what Dr. Barb has shared with us. It's a collaborative effort. We have Gustavo Cardenas, Mr. Nieto, and myself. To start, I want to explain that Vaquita being a species is uh, related to marsupial fishes, dolphins, whales, and killer whales, and being permanent inhabitants of the ocean. They use acoustics as their main ways of communication and exploring the environment in which they develop. That's the energy type that is more efficient for them. Having said this, all these sounds that we hear from whales, dolphins, sounds like run or whistle, they're all used by this species. Particularly the vaquita being a member of my snowballs. The only way of sound that they emit is collocation pulses. They are high frequency. They will be maybe like crackling sound, or if we were snapping our fingers, they only last milliseconds and they're very high frequency. So they will be impossible to be heard by the human ear. We can only detect them with a specialized electronic equipment. I will do my best to play a sound that we prepared. This is a modified sound, so you can get an idea of the sound produced by them. Like I mentioned, these are sounds that should be found with specialized equipment. And this diagram shows how the sound can be picked up by a microphone, and then it goes through filters, and then we can store it. Since 1997 up until today, the group with which I work has been using acoustic equipment for research and monitoring of vaquitas. At the beginning, we were using equipment that was formed by a hydrophone, GPS, that will allow us to do this from a vessel and detect in real time, practically, vaquitas, and we will store all the data with specialized software that could later on be analyzed and erupted. We did this work between 1997 and 2008 or 2009, which was when we were able to access a different type of equipment, in this case autonomous, that doesn't require a researcher at the vessel and the area. By 2008, we tried with three different types of equipment: EGDAC, KeyPod, and CPod. And I want to take advantage that Nick is here, who is actually the designer of the CPod, and which is the improved version of the MPod. I want to thank you for all your work that you have done, all the support that you provided for us, and thank you for providing us with equipment that has allowed us to better study Vaquita with the implementation of the new system of monitoring from 2010 and now with all your technical support. Thank you so much to Nick and the whole team. With this type of equipment, what we are able to do is drill our microphones in the water, and rather than just having a vessel that goes across the area, we have different autonomous equipments that we install in different areas and they're monitoring concurrently. So you can see visually how we can distinguish the signals from a vaquita, and the screen I'm showing you what each little bar that we can see here is a different sound or a click, and how vaquitas don't just emit clicks by themselves, but they do them in what I will call groups. This is a very characteristic way in which, let's say, how a dolphin sends their clicks, and we also have vaquitas here and other species, so we can see the differences between different species. Screen shows the software that we developed in our group for marine mammals to more efficiently discern the data and compete with the need to provide results in a quicker manner. The next generation of software is using our idea with all the parameters, acoustic parameters that we're using in our software. What did we do between 2011 and 2018 with this type of equipment? If you can see here, this figure shows the protection refugee for Vaquita as it was placed in 2005. Between 2011 and 2018, we did an annual observation, and the color intensity of each circle shows the rate at which we were finding vaquitas. If you see towards 2017 and 2018, we practically were finding vaquitas in this area, which was exactly what allowed us as a group, along with SIRVA, to recommend the generation of a new protection area, which was exactly the CPA that was agreed upon in 2020. Basically, like Barbara mentioned, by 2018, using this acoustic data and the estimate from 2015 of about 59 individuals, yes, now by 2018, we had about 9 individuals, but with an error of 6 to 19. And that's why by 2018, there was under 20 individuals. But what else can we do with our acoustic method that we were using? We have this project to keep them and then bring them back into the environment when their situation improved. That is to say, when there was less risk for them. One of the concerns by keeping them, if we were going to invest so much money to catch them, is that we shouldn't waste any time looking for them. We should have a system that allows us to find them more appropriately. The acoustic system was the response. What we were asked for as the acoustic team was to provide daily reports of where we had acoustically detected vaquitas, and the visual group will go towards those areas where we had heard the vaquitas. As you can see in this map, this is the map that was published for that effort. And if you see here the zoom in photograph on the right, this is where we have vaquitas sightings. And they coincide perfectly with the site in which we have found them acoustically most frequently and in the last hours. This type of approach to find vaquitas more efficiently was used later in 2019 and 2021. We already published that effort. And as you can see here, it says precisely that the acoustic was what helped to make the visual more efficient. What happened in this survey? The idea was to have acoustic information in the hours before the visual effort. So our decision was to change our acoustic system, have the information that we store in the cards of our equipment, analyze it directly, process it, and produce a report of what happened during the last survey so that we could share that with the visual team, let's say at midnight or early in the morning. And here on the left, you can see one of the reports that we will provide for May 15 to 17. And basically what we are saying is some vaquitas in these areas, and these are the encounters that we observed. We will turn on that report throughout the campaign. We did about 7 reports because not every day were there good conditions, climatic conditions, so that we could go access the equipment. At the end, we have a map that Barb presented. These are the results of acoustic throughout the whole campaign. And as you can see, we have this guide. The highest rates were in this area, and we found them acoustically in this area as well. The little points are the sighting, and it coincides with what the acoustic team have found. Of course, I want to mention here that we had a sighting in an area in which we never detected acoustically. So that's why it's important to share this. Acoustics are not undestructible. The only sign that we have here reflects that we should not protect areas because we don't detect them acoustically. Evidently, the presence of Vaquita in this area is low, but it's there. We should keep protecting this area. This is a summary of the information. In total, we launched 194 detectors in 35 sites, which are marked here from gray to green. In total, we added 371.57 days of data, which is 10.62 days per site during the campaign. And we had a total of 61 acoustic encounters with vaquitas. Another thing that we can do with the acoustic data is understanding that there is simultaneous encounters. We have encounters that happen in 2 different sites, and because of this swimming speeds and how long it will take for the group to move from point A to B is so big that it's practically impossible for the same group to move that fast. Having said this, we are able to see events or simultaneous acoustic encounters, which means that there's not only just one group of vaquita in the population today, they're structuring themselves in at least 2 groups, but possibly more. That allows us to say that the data that Barb presented are estimates of minimum population. So there's at least 10 vaquitas, but probably there's more because there's individuals that we were unable to see during our efforts out at sea. And that's what acoustics allow us to see. Lastly, I want to thank the group of fishermen, 5 pangas and 10 fishermen that do all the work out in the field. They're actually the heroes of the movie. It's a group of fishermen that are part of this organization, the ABC, and they have been working with us for over 10 years. They're perfectly involved with the work that we do. They can do it very efficiently. And I can't find a better moment than this to thank them for all the efforts that they provide for us. I want to thank everyone on the team for this 2023 survey. We had a lot of preparation hours, organization, a lot of hours on the field. And lastly, we had amazing results. I will call it a success that allows us to think that the upcoming campaigns should take place in April or May so that we have the ideal condition to make better use of our efforts. I want to thank CONAP, Sea Shepherd, and everyone that participated in this effort. Thank you so much. Thank you, Armando, for all the information and bringing this closer to our audience so that we can see everything that is being done. Thank you for all the participants. And now we will see if there's any questions when it comes to all of this that we mentioned and the technical aspect.
Por favor, si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, si puede colocarla en el espacio para ello, escribirla.
If you have any questions, please place them in the Q&A section. Thank you so much. Having no question, we will allow the National Commissioner to give us a closing remark. Thank you, everyone. I am so thankful for all your participation, and I would like to close highlighting the results of the 2021 and the 2023 and a comparison for all the technical elements and meteorological elements. I want to highlight this because it creates a space for hope. No doubt, all the results provided in 2023 are higher, that is to say, 61 in comparison to 26 from 2 years ago. When it comes to sightings, 16 versus 8. When it comes to coughs, 1 or 2 versus 1.5. And for this year, we have about 10 as a minimum, or 13, but it could be more. From 2021, we were talking about the possibility of having 8 individuals. What I want to bring up with this topic is that we made a risky decision when we started with this action. In collaboration with the Navy, the technical support, the scientists, the Secretary of Environment, the protective areas. This was risky. This had never been done before in the world. Placing the block and trying to avoid illegal fishing in the CTA, this is a unique move. It's a risky move. Armando, Lorenzo, Yadira, Premier Flores, all the colleagues that participated in making this choice, I want to say that we're proud of it. We have embarked as the Mexican government actions that give hope to the Vaquita. I want to textually cite a phrase from the report that will be live on Sea Shepherd's website. In last August, the Mexican Navy placed blocks with hooks that were designed to trap gillnet. Although we were not sure why we were not able to observe the vessels, the easier explanation is that the blocks are successful to dissuade vessels from going into the CTA. We see this collaboration between the Navy and Sea Shepherd to dissuade those fishermen that go into the CTA. The disappearance of 90% of the pangas and gillnets in the CTA, the last refugee of the Vaquita, is most likely the biggest step taken towards saving the species. That is the message, and I close my quote. I want to announce two things. First of all, in agreement with our titular Marisa Alvarez, we start today the works to propose expanding the polygon of CTA and the areas where in agreement with the results provided today, we saw individuals. We will also work with local authorities and fishermen in the area that we expand to, and we plan to plant more of those blocks to avoid illegal fishing in the new expanded area. Another element and announcement is that, as you know, and if you don't know, now you do, starting on May 8th, not only for this species, but for other marine species, underwater, we are protecting our oceans as part of our government. I want to conclude by thanking and celebrating the efforts of the collaboration between CERMAP, the environmental agencies, and the NGO Sea Shepherd, whose collaboration and participation in the Vaquita effort have been the result of sharing hope, giving it and sharing it. Observers, specialists, fishermen, local communities, and public servants were all committed for as long as we're serving to keep an eye on those actions. From the environment sector, we reinforce the commitment of the government to protect and take care of the Vaquita. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And we will close with a video thanking you, thanking all of the participants. A round of applause for all the integrants of the 2023 survey. Thank you.
La Secretaría de Medio Ambiente y
The
Recursos
Secretary of the Environmental Natural Resources through the protected areas informs about the survey of Vaquita 2023.
se llevó a cabo del 10 al 27 de
It took
mayo
place between May 10 and 27 in the CTA and the Upper Gulf of California and Colorado River Delta. We counted with scientists from Mexico, US, and Canada that train 8 people. Sea Shepherd Conservation Society collaborated with 2 vessels, and the ONA provided the equipment. Among the results of the survey, we have 61 acoustic detections and 16 sightings of healthy samples of the species. Our results estimate that there is between 10 and 13 individuals, and we observed 2 calves, which means that they are reproducing. Installing 196 concrete blocks, we decreased 90% of fishing activity in the CTA. We generate well-being by conserving territories. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone. We will share the material